Welcome to the Home-Centered Life podcast, where we seek to slow down, opt out of anxiety, and live an unhurried life. We're so glad you're here.
Journey alongside us as we learn about homesteading, homemaking, and living a more simple, home-centered life. Because we think the richest life possible is centered around the home.
Welcome back to the Home-Centered Life podcast. So today we're talking about one of our personal favorite topics as far as homesteading goes. We like to call these animals the gateway drug to homesteading life. And we're going to talk about getting started with chickens. So chickens have kind of had a resurgence, is that even a word?
I think so.
Of popularity in the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
And we are on the chicken train. We have, I think, at last count, now I'm forgetting, 55 or 56 chickens?
56, I think.
56? Okay. We lost one recently, so it might be 50. Well, anyway.
We've got 50 more already ordered.
Yeah, and 50 more coming in the spring. So Today we want to talk about a couple things. A lot of the practical side of keeping chickens, because this really is exciting and a great way to get started homesteading. But also, Michael is going to cover sort of the mindset obstacle that a lot of people face when it comes to starting with chickens, but also just starting homesteading stuff in general, right?
Yeah.
So let's dive into that.
Yeah. The thing, if you Google, or watch YouTube videos on how to keep chickens, they're all about the tactical, practical side of things. But I think the thing that stopped us, or at least stopped me for the longest, and the thing I think stops more people is not, I don't have a miter saw to build Justin Rhodes' chickshaw. I don't think that's what's holding people back. What I think is holding more people back is the fear, the doubt, the feeling like you can't, the sort of potential overwhelm of the unknown. More of those things, more of the emotional side of it than the tactical, practical side of it. And now that we have chickens, 56 chickens, which sounds insane, especially if you have 0 chickens, it probably sounds insane. But now that we have that, I can look back and I can see the seasons where I remember saying, oh, we can't for all these reasons.
Yeah.
Now I can look back and go, we
totally
could have. And that's, I think, the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And of course we could talk tactical, practical, but more like big, broad brushstrokes. There's fear, and there's fear specifically of, taking care of a living creature. And I think chickens are honestly, they're easier than dogs and cats.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I know.
If you've never taken care of we also have dogs and cats.
Yeah.
If you've never taken care of any animals, I would still say go for chickens first.
Yeah.
Even though we don't traditionally think of them as a pet. If you only have a couple, 2, 3, they're going to be more like pets.
Yeah.
Once you have 56, they don't all have names. Only 2 of them have names.
Yeah. Our rooster and
our escape artist, Rosie.
Rosie the Riveter.
Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah.
And the next generation escape artist we just call New Rosie. So really only 2 of them have names, but I would have even, like, if I could go back and resequence our pets, I would have gotten chickens first.
That's good.
But there is that fear of the unknown, which is totally real and totally valid. And it's difficult to encourage somebody to overcome it, because I'm not at all saying like, suck it up, it'll be fine. I'm more saying like, totally, I get the fear. It's going to be okay. Yeah. Also, chickens are not permanent. Yeah. If something does truly go wrong, you can pull the ripcord pretty easily and redirect. Yeah. You can almost always find new homes for them if you need to. Tons of Facebook groups of people who already have 57 chickens, 56 chickens, and they'll take them from you. Yep. So you don't, that fear of like, oh no, we're committed, we're stuck. It's going to be overwhelming. None of that. The other couple like pieces that I hear and I remember thinking were, we don't have the space and or we don't have the supplies and know-how. And I just wanted to touch on those. Not like I can't resolve them for all people, but surprisingly chickens need a surprisingly small amount of space.
Yeah. What's the number again on average? There's different numbers that people say, but like square foot per chicken.
Yeah. About 3 square feet per chicken, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And when I look backwards, I don't know if we didn't do this, and I don't even know if this would have been a good idea, but we could have had 2 chickens at our very, very first apartment.
Yeah, because we had a porch.
On the balcony.
Yeah, a balcony. Yeah.
Because we could have created something with a bunch of bark chips or bark dust.
Yeah.
And they would have pooped in that.
Yep.
And if it's deep enough, chickens will scritch that in so it never gets smelly.
Yeah.
And chickens are not noisy at all. It's the roosters that are noisy.
Yeah.
But chickens don't need a rooster to lay eggs.
Yeah.
And they'll take care of all of your chicken scraps and give you eggs in return.
This is what we were just talking about this, like, you know, like the resurgence. I like that word. I'm just going to use it. So
Run with it.
Of chickens coming back. Like everyone used to have chickens because they were the ultimate go-to for getting rid of your chicken scraps. You know, everyone had backyard chickens, and we were doing some research. I can't remember where we found this, but like on average, years, like hundreds of years ago, right? Chickens only laid an average of like, what was it? 6 or 10.
It was a really small number.
Eggs a year?
Historically.
Yeah. So people were really just using them as like composters. And so I think that is a mindset shift for people too. I mean, they've been bred now to produce more eggs, but like everyone had chickens because they were the thing that got rid of like your chicken scraps. So even if you are a vegan and you don't want to eat the eggs, you know, you can use them to like help the earth and compost your chicken scraps, right?
Yeah.
Compost your chickens, your kitchen scraps.
Kitchen scraps. Yeah. Yeah. If you watch YouTube videos, most folks will, the question of how many chickens should we get, the question is usually framed in terms of how many eggs do you eat? And you can totally do that. That's how I thought about it at first.
Yeah.
I would flip it around, especially if you're just getting started, and assess either how much space do you have. Yeah. Because again, I mean, 6 square feet is nothing. It's a quarter of a balcony in an apartment complex. It's nothing for 2 chickens, 6 square feet. Right. Or you could look at how big is your family and how much food waste do you produce. Right. And it'll take about this many chickens to eat all that food waste, period. That's it. So those would be the 2 things that I would look at. But the space, and by space, I don't necessarily mean square footage, but it's often like, oh, we live in an apartment, we can't have chickens. I don't think that's true. We could have had them in our spare bedroom. Yeah. We could have turned, I mean, I'm sort of joking, but we could have turned one of our bathtubs into a chicken coop.
Yeah. We do have a friend that has a pet chicken. And
lives inside.
Yeah, lives inside.
Totally.
Yeah, she has outdoor chickens, but she has an indoor chicken.
So you can do it. I'm not actually saying turn a bathroom or a spare bedroom, but you can probably do more than you think you can.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
And I think that's pretty true in general. I think a lot of us are more capable than we think we are. Right. There's a few crazy, arrogant people, and because nobody wants to be that crazy, arrogant person, we're all like, hey, let's back off. But those people are super rare. Yeah. Most people, I think, underestimate how much they can do in their current situation with their current know-how. Yeah. And then the other one is supplies. If you've never done it before, it can seem overwhelming, but chickens they're not super resilient, but they're super low maintenance. Yeah. There are a couple things you need, but especially if you're going like the chicken scrap route, like how many people are in our family? How much food waste do we have? The whole like feed conversation just goes away. Yeah. So as far as like supplies you need. Yeah.
So this is more the practical
pounds
side.
Of bark chips. Right. Yeah. But what I mean is just more like overarching before we go practical full on. It's more like the supplies are pretty minimal. Yeah. Okay. It's not it's not as big of a deal as you might think.
Oh, I see.
And you might have locked in to your mind like a perfect version of these free range chickens that have 100 acres to do whatever they want with. Well, first of all, chickens won't use all 100 acres. Yeah. They only go a certain distance from their coop. Yeah. So even if they're free range, There's that's not how they work. They don't literally go wherever they want. They go only a certain amount.
Yeah.
So you could actually put a fence around their coop, even though it wouldn't be free range. But that's how they operate. They don't just wander away and do their thing.
Yeah.
But if you have that perfect version in your mind, and then you look at your apartment balcony, you might be like, oh, but we can't do it perfect. Well, it's going to be better than the confinement houses. I'll tell you that.
That's 100%.
Whatever version you do is going to be so much better for you and for them. And again, even if you don't eat the eggs, give them away.
Yeah.
But you've just given a much better life to 2 chickens. Think of them as pets then and food scrap digesters.
Also, fun side note for people. This is sort of funny to think about, but chickens can eat their own eggs. So if you're a vegan and you don't want to eat them, you can hard boil them or scramble them and feed them back to your chickens.
Well, if you leave them alone, they'll do that too.
Yeah, they will. You do sometimes have egg eaters.
Yeah.
But that was a fun side note. I had no idea that they eat their own eggs.
On a more technical, practical, chickens are not vegetarians.
Yes.
So this whole 100%. Vegetarian fed thing is biologically inappropriate for chickens.
Yeah. Chickens are omnivores.
They will eat their own eggs.
Yep. For sure.
They're not vegetarians.
Yes. So that's one thing, well, I feel like we already need to do 2 episodes on chickens, but because there's so many things to talk about. But as far as the egg conversation goes, if you want to eat their eggs, chickens need a certain amount of protein in their diets. So even if they are free range, the way that makes it work is they're going to eat insects, they're going to eat worms, they're going to find, they can eat their own eggs. They can actually eat like small rodents. If grasshoppers, our chickens love grasshoppers. So anyway, there's a minimum protein requirement, which I wanted to say up front because we're in the middle of winter right now, and we are needing to feed chickens because they're not getting, they're in now a hoop house because it's been in the negative 20s here in the wintertime. So there's a protein requirement as far as feeding them goes.
Kind of. It goes back to the thing you said earlier. Historically, they didn't produce as many eggs. Yeah. Partially because they ate the chicken scraps.
Yeah. I was more saying.
Did I say chicken scraps? I think
I know. See,
I think we're gonna listen back on this episode, and it's gonna be a bunch of chicken scraps.
Excuse us.
Kitchen scraps.
It's
Sorry,
hard to say.
Just bleep it out. But part of the reason they didn't produce as many eggs historically is because they weren't being fed intentionally tons of protein.
That's a good point.
So if you do want them to lay consistently and lay, a fair amount of protein. In the way I heard a story that the historically the job of some of the young bucks on the farm during winter was to go shoot something, kill something, trap something, whatever, and feed it to the chickens so that they would get enough protein during the winter. Yeah. So it's a real thing. And if they are missing out on that protein,
they're not going
to, their production will go down.
Right.
They also if it goes too low, then they won't be thriving. Just like a human with not enough protein. For sure. Which is, we could do a whole episode on protein because it's one of the most misunderstood things on the planet right now. But we're talking about chickens today.
So we'll backtrack a little bit. So what are those, as far as supplies go and minimum requirements for chickens? There's just a few things to keep them safe, warm, and fed. What do we need?
Yeah, I can only think of 3 things.
Yeah, that was 3.
Yeah, but food is not actually one of them.
Okay, yeah.
If I was going to start out, or if I was going to recommend somebody start out, I would go the chicken scrap. There it is again. I would go the food scrap route. I got to just say food scraps. I would go the food scrap route. Okay. How much do we have? Yep. How many chickens will that take? When in doubt, I would say just start with 2 or 3.
Yeah, you can always get more.
But the food thing, I would go that route. Yeah. Not how many eggs do we eat? Okay, we need 20 chickens. Yeah. But so if we set food off to the side because we're just going to feed them scraps, shelter, carbon, water.
Yeah. So shelter. So one thing that we're noticing, shelter is keeping them warm enough and dry. So those are the two things. And
it's safe.
Protection from predators. I mean, that's a whole huge thing.
Chickens are helpless.
One day I heard somebody say, everybody loves to eat chickens.
Everybody loves chickens.
Everyone.
Coyotes, raccoons,
humans. Possums, all the things you can possibly think of. Basically,
everything
like chicken.
Eats chicken.
Yeah, everything eats chicken. So in that sense, shelter is a big deal for predators. Yeah. So the way we currently do it, winter, let's not talk about winter, but in general, we have the chickens go in Justin Rhodes's Chickshaw. Michael built this
5.0.
Yeah. So we can link to that. So it's basically,
it's a great design.
It's a mobile chicken house. And so they, there's like wiring on the bottom. So at nighttime you lock them in, but then during the day, our chickens get out and we have portable electric netting. So we move them pretty regularly. This episode
is not brought to you by Premier One, but hopefully soon they'll sponsor.
So Premier One is the fencing, which is for people that don't know.
They're the best.
They're the best. Yeah. So, so we don't do free range, but we are moving our chickens, doing, a version of rotational grazing to get them on fresh grass and to keep that carbon moving, because if chickens poop in a place too long, it'll just eradicate whatever good grass and soil is there. Yeah. So again, that's a whole thing. But shelter. So again, it's mainly keeping them dry and warm and then away from predators. The predator conversation is a big one too, because like we said, everything loves to eat chickens. So even if you have like or I guess especially if you have a shelter that's just like on top of the ground, and they're just like ours is off the ground and mobile, predators can actually dig underneath. And so I know some people that like have to put wiring underneath. So predators, if they want to get in, they'll be really creative to get there. So you have to, especially like for keeping them safe. And we do have ours out in the yard, but we also have dogs, which during the daytime that wards off any predators. But like our one dog, Bomar, loves to bark away the hawks, which is great. So if you have a dog, that's great. But then at nighttime, there's the raccoons and the coyotes and stuff. So make sure they're in a shelter. If they're left to their own devices, chickens will burrow in some brush and then they won't be in there in the morning. We've had to catch some chickens in funny places. Okay. So shelter, that's one. It
doesn't have to be something, you don't have to build it.
Yeah.
The first two shelters we got, one was like a prefab kit from Amazon.
Yep. We started with an Amazon.
We still use those.
We do. It's an Amazon little tractor.
Yep.
They were rated for like 3-ish chickens and we had like 5 in each, but then we let them out during the day.
Right. If we weren't going to let them out, I would have only done 2 in there. Yeah.
Right. And then we got one on Facebook Marketplace. That was a stationary one. So that, again, we didn't know what we were doing. So what we did was we got this beautiful looking stationary shelter. It had all the like bells and whistles, heated waterer and a fancy nesting box and all the things. But then we recognized very quickly they didn't have anywhere to go during the day. So we were feeding them so much food. And, jokingly, we were like basically buying ourselves $15 a dozen eggs, because we were just feeding them.
And we had to clean up the poop.
Food. Yeah. And then the poop was attracting flies. And so Michael built like a little run for them. So that was another upgrade. But then again, very quickly, they ate all the grass. And so this is partly why I'm sharing this evolution of our process. Is you might hear us be like, oh, we're rotationally grazing and you have this mobile chicken thing that you built. Like we started off not knowing what we were doing. And so we just did the best we could. And so those chickens that started off in those different versions, we actually still have them. They'll be 2 years old in the spring. And now they are on fresh grass and, they've always had a good life, but just been different versions of life for them. So then we evolved. We had another shelter in the middle that we bought from someone, and that one didn't work out super well.
Yeah. Design does matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So don't build it yourself.
Unless you're
either use plans,
Yeah.
like the Justin Rhodes plans,
Right.
or just get something that's prefab that
Yeah.
has high reviews on Amazon.
Yeah.
If the goal though is to do it perfect, you're not
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah.
With another living creature, and I would include plants in this.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it perfectly, and I think that either frustrates people or stops a lot of people. And I never used to be this kind of person, but now I think it's mostly because of the chickens. But I never used to be the kind of person who's like, oh, just jump in and figure it out. And now I'm like, oh, let's just jump in and figure it out.
Yeah.
Because that's the fastest and best way to learn. But it's the fear of like, oh no, we won't do it right. We won't do it perfectly. One of them will die. Well, one of them is going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Something's going to happen. We've lost chickens in the weirdest ways. You would never be like, be careful where you set the waterer because you'll squash a chick if there's like, nobody says that, but that stuff happens.
Yeah.
So doing it perfectly is not on the table.
Yeah.
If you find yourself waiting until you have all of the information before you jump in, which I totally get,
right,
you just won't ever jump in. And that's the hardest part of that fear or that perfectionism.
Yeah. Okay, so shelter. So they do need water. One small recommendation, especially in winters, is to get a heated water, or just you have to haul water out all day long. Yeah. We've been in that place. I do like also recommending, just as a small side note, to add probiotics to your chicken's water. That helps just keep their gut healthy. And that, again, I know I'm going a few steps down the road, but maybe some of you are like, well, I have a couple now. What do I do? We have a little probiotic thing that I like to add to their water, and it's only like $12 or $13, and it lasts forever.
Yeah, like 100 gallons.
Yeah, so that's it. That's just an extra little bonus to keep their gut healthy, just like we need good gut health, right? Yeah. So water, and then the warmth, right?
Well, they'll keep themselves warm. Especially carbon was the third thing.
Oh yeah.
So carbon can be pine shavings at the local hardware store. It can be bark chips, bark dust. Chickens do poop, and if they're free range, they'll just poop everywhere, including on your porch and on your car and on all the things that you hold dear. Yeah. Which is why free range is not as sexy as it sounds. So they'll poop everywhere. So it'll be like spread out. So you won't have to clean it up as much, but inside their coop, or if you're putting them inside any sort of containment, unless you're rotationally grazing them, but inside their shelter, you're still going to need something, generally speaking, to absorb. And so when we say carbon, shavings, chips, bark dust, that kind of stuff, and based on your shelter, you'll know where it needs to go. But there's one thing that I think is cool, and that's I've read different numbers, so just toss out kind of the middle number that I hear people say: 24 inches, 2 feet of carbonaceous material. Let's say bark dust for the sake of this example. 2 feet deep of bark dust, and you'll never have to clean up poop. They'll poop on that. Yeah, it'll absorb the nitrogen and the ammonia and all the stuff that's in chicken poop, because chickens don't urinate, so it's all in there. Yeah. But the bark dust will absorb that, and then they'll scritch it in. And over time, they'll just keep scritching it in.
Break down. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can put them in a remarkably small area and never have to clean up poop if there's enough carbon to absorb it. Right. Which I think is fascinating.
Which I was just going to say, for those people that feel overwhelmed by that number of 24 inches of wood chips, we don't yet have that, because we had to do a really quick get our chickens into a shelter when the winter came, but we're working on getting that. So again, we're not even doing the perfect version yet. We're just doing the best we can, and they're doing well, but we're working on getting that perfect version. And so I think that's the other thing too, is again, just coming back to that theme of like jumping in. Chickens are a great jumping off point for your homesteading journey. In some ways they can almost be easier than having a garden, I feel like, because you get that automatic return. Oh, one fun thing for people too that I didn't know is chickens generally start laying at about 18 to 26 weeks of age.
Yeah.
So if you get chicks, you're not going to get an egg popped out the next day. So we actually, again, for our first version, we actually found a hatchery that sold 18-week pullets, they're called. So basically within a couple weeks of having them, we were getting the eggs, and they're more expensive than buying chicks, but we were intimidated by having chicks. And so that first year, we bought 10 18-week girls, and then we got eggs pretty much right away. And then it was only a year later in this last year that we started doing chicks. So there's always pros and cons, they were more expensive, but we got eggs right away. Chicks take a lot longer to get that return. But that's something to consider too, is there are options,
That would be my recommendation. Well,
to start with pullets, right?
Yeah. In general, if something feels overwhelming, keep shrinking it down until it doesn't feel overwhelming anymore.
Right.
So like if chicks feel overwhelming, get pullets.
Yeah.
And if 10 sounds like a lot, get 2.
Yeah.
And to your point, we don't have the 24 inches of carbonaceous material right now, but looking back on I keep going back to our first apartment with that balcony. I would have gotten like a tub or something that was 2 feet deep that the chicken tractor just sat on top of and filled it with bark chips.
Yep.
And then the chicken tractor would have been right there.
Yeah.
And the two would have been 2 pullets. They would have just hung out in there.
Yeah.
Which is still a ton more space than the confinement houses give chickens. And they would have gotten scraps and whatever. Yeah. So it still would have been a much better life. They would have been outside, not confined in a giant industrial house. And sunlight and all that sort of stuff. Chickens are incredibly light sensitive, sunlight sensitive. But I think that's what I would have done. And if somebody said, well, I want to start with chickens, what setup should I get? That's what I would do. I'd say get 2, feed them food, feed them scraps from your kitchen, a tractor off Amazon on top of a 2-foot deep tub of bark dust, bark chips, whatever.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I would have.
Yeah.
That's what I would recommend.
And then if someone's wondering, where do you get your chickens? There are a lot of really great hatcheries. We did, because we got those the first time around, we got those grown pullets. People don't ship grown pullets or like grown chickens.
Oh yeah, you got to go get them.
So we had to drive there and pick them up. So that might not be an option. I'm sure you can find them on Facebook. Often has like homesteader groups or animal groups that you can join. But one recommendation that we've heard that we agree with is you don't just have to find a hatchery that's close. Find one that's good, that can ship, because they ship chicks all over. So find one that has really good ratings. We have a few that we really like, which if you're wondering, we can let you know about those. But if you want to go the chick route, look into a hatchery. And then, I feel like we could talk all about breeds and all that good stuff next time. But hopefully this is encouraging for those of you that are excited about chickens but feel overwhelmed. Just know that it is possible, and we have loved having our chickens. And now we're just excited to have all the animals. But it was because of our chickens that it gave us the confidence to start down the homesteading journey. So I feel like that's been one of the biggest blessings of having them. And now we get yummy eggs, and we feed them to our dogs and our children and us, and sell a few on the side. So it's been a really big blessing for our family. So so if you have any more questions or want to hear another episode on chickens, we will gladly do it, because we love them. Well, we'll wrap up here for today. You have anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay.
We can do multiple episodes on the nutrient profile of these kind of eggs versus store-bought eggs, but that's probably it for now.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you for joining us today for our conversation around getting started with chickens.
We hope you found it both helpful and encouraging. And if you like this episode, we would love it if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's a great zero-cost way to support this podcast.
You can also find us on Apple and Spotify and leave us up to a 5-star review. One of the amazing things about the world we live in today is you can help us live a home-centered life just by leaving a review, subscribing, and connecting with us that way.
We look forward to connecting with you again soon. Thank you for joining us as we journey towards living a more home-centered life.